There's a whole lot of other terms that go into every single deal other than price and commissions. So, you know, just because he's agreed to a price and a commission doesn't mean he's agreed to all these other terms as well.
Welcome back to another episode of the Elder Care Insights podcast by Welcome Back Home Care. Today, we're so happy to have Michael Hansen. He's the broker of Hansen Homes.
Yes, sir.
Michael, thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on, Lee. I'm excited.
So, Michael, when did you start Hansen Homes, and when did you become a real estate broker?
My real estate license in 2006 and immediately went and got my broker's license as soon as you can, which is 2 years. So 2008, end of 2008, 2009, I started Hanson Homes and been a broker ever since. And really just got the broker's license, to be my own boss, to keep 100%. And over the years, it's been 15, 16 years now. I've been slowly gathering more and more agents over the years and building up the brokerage.
Great, Mike. And how many agents do you have right now?
Currently, we have 15.
Okay. So it's not a
Yeah.
Century 21 type of a company. It's more of a local hardware store. You're going to get good quality agents. You have a really strong team. And just a plug for myself.
Yes.
I'm actually an agent. For those of you who didn't know, I received I earned my real estate license back about 10 years ago, and I thought it would be great to serve the senior population by having this real estate designation and understanding how seniors move from one place to another. So it's really great to just be with you. I can give a testimonial for Mike and how he operates and his team. A very great company to work with. So I know, Mike, you're looking to hire more agents, right?
Of course. Of course. Always looking for, good quality people who are excited about the business and want to learn the business and, rookie agents or experienced agents. Whoever's looking to build their brand and to make money, I'd love to help you out.
Okay, thanks, Mike. So let's ask about your why. I know this is something big in many industries. We want to know what's the point of all this. What's the purpose? How do you get your fulfillment? I mean, I know you have a beautiful young daughter, and congratulations.
Uh-huh.
And so that's
Thank you.
super important. So talk to us,
Yes.
if you may, about your why, about your purpose. What gives you fulfillment in this real estate?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's to make money. Everybody's here, everybody's got bills to pay, so you got to make money. Of course, you'd like to enjoy what you do while you're doing it. I mean, work is always work. The great thing about real estate is, no two deals and no two clients, will ever be the same. So everybody, it's a personable business. So you're dealing with a lot of people, and every person is different, different personalities. So that's the cool thing about real estate is you're always meeting someone new. You're always looking at different properties. Every house is going to be a little different than the next one. So it keeps you surprised. It keeps things customized. It's cool. It's a fun business to be in, and might as well make some money while you're having some fun as well. So of course, I gotta make money. I gotta feed my daughter, and she's 2 years old. She just started school, so a lot of bills come with that, and that's what it's about.
God bless and congratulations. We've been friends for quite some time, so I only have the best things to say about you and your wife and your daughter, your whole family. Guys, anybody
Thank you,
who's
and
who's
you as
thinking
well.
about getting their real estate license, give Michael Hansen a call. This guy not only knows real estate, he knows construction. Like, you want to go into a little bit about your background and you go into Century Village. Let's kind of move over to how you work in the senior sector as well. But a real
Mhm.
estate specialist for 55 and older properties. You've kind of built a little bit of a niche for that. Can you talk to us
For
about how you
sure.
buy and sell properties and flip them in Century Village? And or 55 and older neighborhoods?
For sure. So, I got my, you know, started the real estate brokerage 15 years ago. And just about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I started getting, into flips. And, I was a little nervous at first. I've never done flips. I never had anybody teach me flips. I kind of learned it on my own. I always had a general idea of the process and the idea of how it would work. But I never actually did it myself. So I did. I started in Century Village. I did a couple of regular real estate deals in Century Village, and I would see the spread in some of these 55 and older communities um, were very good. For what you put in versus what you could sell it for. What you can buy it for on the low end versus what you could sell it for on the high end. So I started very small. Uh, I did Century Village, Boca, and I bought a lot of 1-1s, 1-1.5s, and very little money. Of course, you could buy them in there for like 30 grand, 40 grand, and some, closer to 90 or 100. And learned the whole permitting process and learned how to, work with the plumbers, work with the contractors, work with the electricians, and bring a property from its low end to its high end. And of course, I already knew how to sell it, I already knew how to buy them. It was just the in between of bringing, a property to its full potential. And so after I got, 3 or 4 of those under my belt right there in Century Village, Boca, I looked into bigger, better projects, started doing single family homes, and I've been doing it ever since. So the flipping side has been really good.
Yeah, so you have connections, you have contractors, you have people who can help with, say, cleaning the grout on a tile floor,
For
finding the
sure. Definitely.
plumbers, finding the electricians, and, basically, you can do some of this stuff yourself. You talk about like the knockdown or like the old popcorn ceilings that, we want to, they're not as modern as they could be, so
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
knockdown stuff.
definitely. Over the years, I've met a lot of great contractors. Some better than others, but I've weeded out the no good ones, and I have my core group of guys that have good crews that do good work, and you'll never be disappointed at the end with the guys that I have. So yeah, I'm happy with the crew that I accumulated over the years for sure.
That's great. And I know that they feel the same way about you because I've actually had some of your crew into my house here, and we did some work on the floors and everything,
Mhm.
and it's just solid, communication. When they say they're going to be there, they'll be there.
Uh-huh.
The money, the great value in working with you, and it seems like there's not really they're not trying to really take you to the bank, so to speak. It's really a fair price. Everything's very fair. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things in real estate that we're going to touch on today. We spoke a little bit of construction and flipping. So what's your experience on probate? Because this is a little bit in my field because in the healthcare sector, some of these,
Mhm.
I'm learning. We had our latest health uh, estate attorney and also a elder care attorney. These people help from going into probate, but that's how to prevent it. But now once we're there, have you done any properties that are in probate? And can you talk a little bit about that? And
Yeah,
if that, I know it may not
I
be your
mean,
experience. There's a lot of, there's broker price options. There's foreclosures, there's probate. So you want to touch on a few of those. It's all kind of very in the same
yeah, my
wheelhouse.
experience is as far as, the real estate sales side goes, with probate. The lawyers handle most of it, either the title lawyer or they have a specific estate lawyer on the case, and they handle all that stuff. So as far as my experience goes, I don't know too much of the fine details of it. But it's usually a case where someone has passed and the children have taken the property over uh, through the estate and they want to sell it. And so normally, when I speak with the lawyer will give me a whole timeline And that's really what I need as far as selling the property. I need to know when the title will be free and clear, ready to close. So that's kind of my experience with it as far as the sales side is just getting the time frame from the estate lawyer on when we can sell it because it can be a very lengthy process, especially if you're just starting out, um, or if somebody passed and it was kind of sudden. But there's other cases where they planned it out before they passed and they had their every all their ducks in a row and as soon as it happens they're ready to sell right away. So it's a case by case basis.
All right, great. So we definitely want to avoid, going into probate. But if that happens, it's a process. It takes time. It's lengthy. Have you
Yeah.
worked in the foreclosure market at all?
For sure, for sure. I mean, you can't avoid it, especially in '06, '07, '08 when all the foreclosures were coming like crazy back when I first had got my license. That's really how I got my feet wet was showing REOs and selling a lot of short sales and a lot of foreclosures for sure. So you don't see it as much today as you did back then, and I don't think it will ever be as bad as it was back then just because they are a lot more stricter with the mortgage, and lenders are stricter with, their criteria
The
for
Fannie, the
passing
Freddie.
out a mortgage. Yep, exactly. So, um, yeah,
Very good. So we'll kind of move on to this more of a hot topic, right? We're going to talk about this recent class action settlement between the National Association of Realtors. Right?
yes.
I've been in that group. I've been in the National Association of Realtors for quite some time. So I'm interested. I think that, you know, I'm not that's not my real profession being a realtor. I'm a home health I'm a hel- I'm a business owner right now with
Yeah.
Welcome Back Home Care, but I'm still interested. I want to know what's going on with this um class action. What's going to change? What's going to stay the same? As far as I know, like free market is the clients get to and negotiate on the commissions. What are your thoughts on this and where's all this 500
So
million,
it's
settlement
it's
going
it's
to?
absolutely it's gonna change the entire process of real estate from start to finish. It's so what's going on with the NAR? I mean, ultimately what they're doing is they're solving a small problem, but they're creating a massive problem. They're really going to change the entire process through the MLS. Um, Zillow doesn't have that. Realtor.com doesn't have that. Only the MLS has that. So eliminating that, eliminating the NAR lawsuits, eliminating offering compensation through the MLS. It's basically just making the MLS another website, just like Zillow or Realtor.com. I don't, I don't see what advantage that gives to the buyer or to the seller. It doesn't. The way it's set up now, it makes it easier for the consumer. It makes the whole process streamlined to a sense for the consumer, for the buyer, for the seller. Now, everything's negotiable, everything's up in the air. It was always negotiable before, but at least it was negotiated before. It was negotiations that had already started with the seller when you go into the listing appointment. So if you're a seller and the seller wants to sell their place, you start negotiating right away, technically. Listing agent will go meet with the seller and you start negotiating price and you start negotiating commissions right away. Um, so if the seller's already agreed to pay X amount commission to the listing side and to the buyer's agent and has already agreed to sell at a certain price. Um, you know, there's a whole lot of other terms that go into every single deal other than price and commissions. So, you know, just because he's agreed to a price and a commission doesn't mean he's agreed to all these other terms as well. So, as offers would come in, buyers can take their agents, buyers and buyers agents can go look at property in confidence, knowing that the seller has already agreed to pay that. But now they can't. It's really going to throw everything into the woodworks as far as the entire process and how it used to work. Um, so, instead of having, price and commissions pre-negotiated, now you're going in as a buyer, you're going in and negotiating price, commissions, and all the other terms all from scratch. It just makes things way more complicated, and it's just especially not a good look for a lot of the low income buyers.
Hmm. Yeah, very interesting. I think we're still gonna learn more as this whole um, suit
Yeah.
unfolds, and the rules that are going to move forward in the future. Is there a certain timeline where this stuff is taking place, or are we
They're
in it right
saying
now?
in July. They're
It's
saying in
July.
July.
Okay, so we have
Yeah.
3 months
I
to kind
mean,
of so for all the you know people in the public out here listening in, they're interested in buying a house or whatever it is, just call Mike. He'll talk to you. He'll tell you exactly what's the difference in this rule change. When it's going to take effect, how it's going to be better, how it's going to be worse, and he can go into more detail. But really, we're we're finding dream homes for we're people that are looking for their dream home and looking to start their life and have their family in a nice, safe schools and all that stuff. Um, we want a good agent, who's going to help us find that dream home. So I think that whether it's a 2% commission or a 3% commission, I mean that's a small type of commission compared to finding your dream home. Does the money even make that big of a difference when you got an agent who's bringing so much value to you and going to
yes,
basically get you your highest and best use. So I think that just a good agent provides so much value in general that now you're just kind of trying to, in a way, like the value is diminishing by, you know, um, bringing all these negotiations to a lower level, basically.
100%. 100%. As far as a buyer goes, um, where was I going to go with this? Um, so no matter what on the listing side, so you're always going to have a listing agent. The sellers are always going to hire an agent to get a property listed, to use their expertise to get a property sold. So what you're gonna see now is buyers who think they could do it themselves. I already see it happening with the growing popularity of Zillow and Realtor.com. As a listing agent, I'll get calls directly from buyers, and I got no problem taking that call. I have no problem taking a buyer on as a listing agent, and transitioning to a transaction broker and closing the deal for both sides. But now, with eliminating the buyer's commission, there's no extra incentive for me as a listing agent to want to take on these buyers. Why would I help this person out, help them buy my property if there's nothing in it for me? It's a lot of extra work to take on the buyers.
Yeah,
Um,
very well
so you're
articulated.
gonna find what you're gonna see is buyers are gonna be on on the market to buy a property, and they're gonna need help. And they're gonna be watching YouTube videos, they're gonna be watching TikToks, and they're gonna think they could do it themselves because they've watched all these videos. And the sad reality is there's the fine details in the contract that they don't understand, that they need someone to read that contract and explain it to them, whether it be an agent or a lawyer. They're not gonna have that person on their side that they can trust. And it's gonna be a situation where they'll have an inspection period, and they're gonna pass their inspection period, and their deposits are gonna be locked, and they're gonna pass their inspection period and lock up their deposit because they're unaware of the time frame that they had. Um, and they're gonna end up a lot of lawsuits, a lot of buyers losing their deposits, a lot of deals dying, a lot of time wasted, a lot of not good practice for buyers.
I have a couple follow-up things. So you spoke
Yeah.
about the transition to transaction brokerage. Is it so
Yes.
that means you're basically representing both sides? transaction brokerage.
So you're not representing either side. You're just working to close the deal. You're a
Okay.
transaction. You're working for the transaction. You're working to close the deal. You're not representing either side.
Okay, okay, and this is stuff that's really in the if you wanna pass a test, you just listen. This is stuff in the books. I remember that.
Exactly. So and
So
even now in Florida, all agents are considered a transaction broker when you start up. But in reality, listing agents are looking out for their sellers. They are. Even
yeah,
though they're considered a transaction broker, they're acting fiduciary and they're acting in their seller's best interest.
yes, that's the key word, fiduciary. And so as a single agent, or even as a transaction, you're representing your listing in a fiduciary relationship, meaning we're going to do what's in the best interest of this relationship for the seller because we're in a listing contract with the seller in a fiduciary, meaning we're helping that seller in any aspect whatsoever. Everything that we're focusing on is for that seller. Now, when you bring in a buyer, but you already have all of this, goodwill going towards the seller, it kind of is like throwing a monkey in the wrench or a monkey wrench in the supply the way things are going um in the manufacturing. It just doesn't make any sense because how can you give a full-fledged fiduciary relationship to one side and then offer, just a type of, but you're representing both parties, so
You
or
can't.
you're
You can't.
transacting for both parties.
You can't. And no buyers are really gonna understand this. Or not no buyers, but 90% of the general public doesn't understand this.
Mm.
And they don't. And they're not gonna get.
Look, I want to just talk about outside of real estate. This is something that is concerning to me because I want to help the general public for whatever reason. I've been in certain instances where there's folks that seem like they're at my best interest or my company's best interest, but they have
Mhm.
a fiduciary with, another party, and so whether it's an attorney relationship, right? If you hire an attorney to come on board with you, they're representing you have an attorney
Yeah.
call you from another person that isn't signed on with you or you is not representing you, they don't have
Mhm.
any sort of fiduciary relationship with you. So sometimes it's important to know like who's really looking out for me? Who's really looking
Yes.
out for my best interest? Because, if not for me, if I don't look out for myself, then who will look out for me? And
100%.
yeah, so we have to
And
understand
it's
this, and that's why you do wanna go ahead and call Hansen Homes. These guys I've known forever, and just what you're were you born in Coral Springs, or you were raised in Coral Springs?
I was born in North Carolina, but I moved to Coral Springs when I was like 6 months old.
Okay,
And I've been here ever since. So
alright.
Broward County native, grew up in Coral Springs. I live in Deerfield now, but this is where I've been my whole life.
This is home, and that's why I believe you and I have some good synergy. I was raised in Coral Springs, learned how to walk and talk in Coral Springs, all the way up
Nice.
elementary, all the way through high school. Really
Mhm.
enjoyed, the place that I was raised, and I actually went ahead and started the Welcome Back Home Care business a couple of years ago to come back specifically to Coral Springs. There's something about coming back to the hometown and in a way serving our constituents. We really are serving the public. When you're linked up with someone like Michael, he's just going to serve you and serve your family to exactly what they're looking for. I'm not just saying this. Mike has given me so much information, the knowledge, being there for me, going out and viewing properties with me. It's just he's the guy that's gonna do it. He'll give the shirt off of his back for you, so
Yep.
we're really
Thank you.
trying
Thank
to promote the company and really just introduce Michael Hansen, and to my, podcast world here, because I want the people to know that if you need something from us, if you need anything from Welcome Back Home Care, right? Do you need any information from me? Any information, all these resources I've gained through the years. This is our 11th podcast episode. This is the first one with a real estate specialist. but all the other ones are some really amazing resources, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I really mean it.
Mhm.
If you need anything or if you have any questions about anything regarding real estate, regarding health, and anything in general, you can call Michael. You can call me. Like, we are one and the same. We're the same type of service people where we're going to get back to you. We're going to bring that service for you. We're going to give you all this information. It's almost like we're free consultants in a way.
Absolutely. Lee, you're a hustler, man, and you've been growing your network and your core group of people and professionals that you have for many, many years. And it's impressive what you've grown and what you've done, in your lifetime, man. It's cool.
Yeah, thank you for that. I believe I
Yeah.
found myself as an entrepreneur. People always try to identify, "Well, who am I? Um, what
Mhm.
what's my purpose here? And so when I'm getting involved with different things, I've had the 215 license for insurance. I let that one go because it's a lot, but I want to keep the real estate license because I really appreciate and understand a little bit about some of the nuances and know that I can help a lot of people in the future. The reason I did it was to help people and mainly our senior sector, 55 and older, to let them know that we can help you move in, we can help you move out. I'm an expert in these assisted living communities, right? Well, I won't call myself an expert, but I know the experts that understand independent assisted living, skilled nursing, CCRC, continuing care, retirement communities. If you call me and ask me a question, I'll give you my opinion, but then I'll say, all right, that's my opinion. Now here's the expert. I'll give you her phone number or his phone number and email, and you can really speak to people who do this for a living, which is senior move-in specialists. Move out of the 55 and older because maybe those stairs aren't conducive anymore. Maybe
Mhm.
it's just not worth it compared to the socialization that you get inside of an independent living where if we see any of you want to call and talk to me and tell me that you're feeling a little lonely and that you're isolated and you saw my podcast and you think that it's a good idea to talk, just do that because what I want to do, you know is help people. That's my purpose. So if you feel isolated
Mhm.
and you feel lonely and maybe heaven forbid you're a surviving spouse and someone passed on a couple months ago and you're just wondering, what is all this for, what is all this all about, why am I still here? Just call me. I want to have a cup of coffee with you. I want to come to your house. I want to introduce myself and not sell you on anything. I just want to say we're here for you, and you can always call us when you need us. Mike and I have very good energy. We've been doing this for a long time. We'll be here not to sell you on anything, but we're going to give you a plethora of resources and open your eyes to some of the possibilities that it gets better. It doesn't have to be the last chapter, right? There's many, many more, and that we can make sure that you're feeling good and appreciate where you are, where you're living. And there's a lot of things that we can get into about which communities offer the clubhouse, which ones have a theater, um, which ones have a pool, which ones are maybe you don't want to be in a 55 and older, but you want to be in like a mixed community that's a little bit of both.
Mhm.
There's lots of options, and I'm sure you help out, your clients all the time when they just call you and say, "Hey, I'm ready for a change." So what's that process like when someone calls you and says, "Hey, I'm coming in from New York." Do you offer, a sit down with them consultation, one on one on the phone, and how's that
Absolutely.
process like when you first initial call?
Absolutely. I mean, first get the first phone call, whether it be a buyer or seller, I find out what their needs are, what their wants are, and kind of make a list and make sure I'm checking all those boxes as I'm looking for properties for them and making sure that I'm within their budget, making sure that if they're paying cash or whether they're financing, if they have a good lender. Make sure I stay in communication with the lender, because some of these lenders out here are bad, and they're just passing out pre-approval letters to anybody um, who talks, and then the pre-approval letter ends up dying. You know, they can't honor the pre-approval letter in midway of the deal, and the deal ends up dying. It's a big time waster for everyone involved.
Oh my.
Not only me, but especially the buyer. So, for sure. If it's a buyer on the buying side, I wanna know their needs, know their wants, and try to check every one of those boxes and guide them along the way to a happy, successful closing. And especially if it's financing, the lender is huge on that. So gotta make sure you have a good lender. Gotta make sure you have all your documents and ducks in a row when talking to the lender, because the lenders are strict.
My, oh my. You touched on some really important points and almost kind of, yeah, I think that your business has a similar philosophy as my business, where we need to have the resources ready to go. And you used a key word that I love, guiding, right? We need to
Yeah.
guide these folks because we're the
Hmm.
expert. So to provide
Exactly.
that guidance, just lip service. It's really, we're giving them phone numbers, we're giving them business names, we're giving them names of the people to talk to, which of the closing
Hmm.
companies to work with. Who do I recommend for a lender? So
Hmm.
this is all carte blanche. This is basically, once you call Mike, you're gonna get all this stuff, and that's what happens with us too, where once you call Lee at Welcome Back, we're gonna go ahead and give you all of those resources, even if you don't end up buying a house, or even if you don't end up deciding that this isn't in the right thing for you. Is that right? Do you basically give out, consultation and say, hey, you need this, 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 and this, ducks
A
in a
hundred
row?
percent. 100%. Yep, for sure.
So so think about the value there, just calling if you are thinking of it, and you just a little bit overwhelmed. Most people have their own jobs and their 9 to 5, but they have the dream, right? We need to keep this dream
Mhm,
alive. So whether they're out of the state, um, it doesn't matter whether they're buying, whether they're selling. It's important because, yeah, time is money, of course. We don't want to just drag our feet, you know. And also, these resources are important to understand the whole step. You got to go to first base before you get to second base. And then once you're on second, you got to go to third. And then the hitter, yeah, I'll give all these baseball metaphors. It's just basically, you got to know
mhm,
which direction to go. You got to know like what's going to happen next. I mean,
mhm,
or else you get a foul ball, and like we'll have
mhm.
to restart, or whatever it is. Like next inning, like no, there's only 9 innings left. I don't want to waste this time. So
Yep,
so I really, I speak to a lot of agents. I don't get the same passion that Mike has, when they're talking about stuff. I don't hear people talking about, hey, we're just going to give you all of our resources. If you just call us, we're going to tell you each step that you need to take, how you need to prepare. You need a pal, right? You need a pre-approval letter, a pal. That's super important. Like, isn't that like one of the most basic things like that people should think about before buying a home?
100%.
Get
That
that
that's
pal.
step 1. That's step 1 when buying a house. If you're financing, you need a good lender, 100%.
All right.
'Cause
So
the
so
good
there's
good lender will look at all your finances and look at your situation and put you in the correct plan, for what you're looking for.
yeah. So this may be a curveball type of question. How do we, once we're worrying about interest rates, right? Does that right? Is that a hot topic right now? Interest rates.
For sure, yep.
So basically, you're not an economist, but I can ask the question, where you feel that interest rates. You've been studying the market for a while. Where do you feel
Uh-huh.
interest rates are going? And this is a two-part question. How do
Mhm.
you talk to people, or do you do sort of guidance on whether it's worth it, a bigger down payment on this, or whether you can do a cash deal? Do you talk to folks and say, hey, interest rates are really high right now. You may want to do this cash deal.
I mean, I'm As far as, the real estate broker goes and the lending side and interest rates, I leave that to the lenders. Um, as for, uh, because each person is gonna be different. Each person is gonna have a different credit score. Each person is gonna have a different amount of money in the bank for their down payment, whether they wanna use all that money or they just wanna use half of it. Um, and, depending if it's FHA or conventional and what kind of certain plans that lenders are offering at the moment, your lender is the one who's really going to be able to find out those details for you and say, hey, it's worth it for you to buy a point down and go this route because you have X amount of dollars in the bank, or your credit score isn't that good, but you can make up for it with a little extra cash, or you know, interest rates are supposed to come down. I would wait until this time or lock in the rate now. And if they do come down, we'll automatically lock you in. There's so many different things with the ever changing interest rates and with the lenders that you need your own expert just for that side of it. So I kind of stay out of that. I leave it to the lenders as far as, the financial advice. As far as like sellers go, I get a lot of sellers who call me who bought, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and they have a lot of equity in their property now. And I'm giving them advice. They're out there saying, "Hey, I wanna," they're downsize. A lot of them wanna downsize, or they, take advantage of their equity. And I tell them, "Look at your interest rate now, because a lot of them have, like a 3% interest rate, and, it just doesn't exist." So even though you may have doubled your property value and you think you're gonna cash out and get all this money, which you are, after fees and stuff, when you go to purchase again and, take out a new mortgage, you're gonna see you're gonna be paying that 7%, and you're gonna see that you wish you would have held on to that 3% interest rate that doesn't exist anymore. So, you think you're selling and you're gonna cash in all this money, but a lot of times in certain situations, you're really just trading a lower interest rate for a higher interest rate, and it doesn't make sense for you. So that's a lot of phone calls that I'm getting from sellers is that, and I'm having that conversation, and I'm kind of pushing them towards, look, it'll make a lot of financial sense to rent out your property because your rentals are a lot higher than what your 3% mortgage is. Um, and take that extra income and use that towards a new mortgage. Um, but again, you need to talk to the lender about all that. But I put that scenario out there for them, and I'll give them what price they can rent it for. And because rental prices have gone up just as much as sell prices have gone up. So, nice thing about rentals are you usually lock them in for a year. So whether or not the market goes crazy up or comes crazy down, at least for the following year, you're locked in at a certain price. And I always find good quality tenants for my landlords.
And we have done that. That of the few deals I've worked on, I had a family relationship where, yeah, my mom and dad needed to find a tenant for their place, and with Mike's
Hmm.
help, we found a rock solid group of people, two guys that were gonna rent the place, and we made sure we covered all of our bases. We got a credit score. We did the background check. We got the parents to co-sign on it. We got the pet fee. Just like anything that is questionable, Mike's going to help you protect and cover your bases to make sure that, you're going to get paid. Nobody's going to walk out on you, without recourse. And it's super important. You bring up a couple great points. One is you know when to refer to the experts. You know when your lane is you stay in your lane, right? You got buyers and sellers, and then finance stuff you refer to the experts. We
Yeah.
we are similar in that way also. We have that same philosophy where I'm not going to pretend to be a senior attorney or something. Like, I'm not going to give Medicaid advice. I'll just refer over to the expert, and that's part of our whole resource base. You spoke about possibly advising or recommending to the sellers that you may want to have a tenant rent the place out. I have a feeling that this is going to be a hot trend coming up in the markets, considering increased inflation, cost of living,
Agreed.
all of this stuff. I mean, I hear people talking about it now, like I need to rent out my room. I think that will help cover the cost of this HOA increase, or we have to get a new roof. The property insurance is up. People can barely afford to live alone. They need to outsource this stuff, and I think
Mhm.
having a roommate, finding someone really Michael can help you with. You don't have to say yes to everybody. You could have 10 different inquiries about tenants, and the right one who's going to be living with you. It's your house. Is that
Yep.
right? Are you allowed to pick whichever basically, if you own the place and you get 10 different people that want to inquire to rent out a room, that you can pick whichever one you want?
Of course. Yeah. Of
Okay,
course.
great.
Yeah. You
Just
can only
checking
rent it
because
to one of
I
them, so you
wouldn't
have
want
to
to
pick one.
do anything that oh yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess it makes sense as long as they're living in your
Mhm.
house. That's your
And you raised a good point about insurance. Insurance rates have gone crazy, especially this year. They like got really bad, and a lot of insurance companies are just not writing here in Florida. You got Citizens, who is one of the only ones who's writing policies, and if your roof is like over 15 years old, your policy is going to be extremely high. So that's another thing to look at. Um, especially if you're looking at some lower income housing and you're looking at single family homes, your insurance could double depending on the age of your roof, and would throw off your whole debt to income ratio and kill a deal. So another very, very important to have a good quality lender on your side who will be honest with you from the jump. And, depending on which property you find, say, hey, you need to find something at least 15 years or younger roof. Um, because if you find something over 15 years, and usually insurance, when you're shopping insurance, it's one of the last steps before closing. So it's really, really sad when a deal dies because they found out that the insurance is sky high and they can't afford it,
yeah.
and the deal
And
ends.
I believe this is kind of has it's multifaceted, right? It's multifactorial. There's multiple reasons why these costs of insurance are going up, but I think one is has to do with the Surfside catalyst, or the Surfside
Mhm.
effect. So, can you talk a little bit more about why we believe that these insurance rates are going up so much?
I don't know. I'm not an insurance expert in any sense.
Yeah,
Uh, Another thing I'll leave to those guys. Why is it going? I guess just because it's Florida and we get a lot of hurricanes. I don't know.
yeah.
But knock on wood, we've been pretty good the past couple of years. But
Well,
I,
this
I
in
I can't
general, I
answer
was
that.
over in near Naples, in a real nice fishing town called Matlacha, and they're still devastated. I mean, that was
Yeah,
18 months ago. This is some serious. Ian hit us, and it was a
yeah,
1,000-year storm. So that
yeah,
one is, right here in South Florida. Yeah, thank God. But I know
yeah.
that those folks
On the
are
West Coast,
super.
yeah, yeah,
I'm scared for them. There's houses for sale on this beautiful block. Every other house is for sale because they're scared for the
yeah.
next hurricane season.
So that maybe that's why.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean that, and then you have also just the supply and demand. If these insureds are going to leave, the demand is still high, but there's less of a
yep,
supply. So
hmm
there you go. I mean, costs are going to go up. So
yep,
Mike, let's we're touching on a lot of great points and topics and ideas for the general public. Um, can you talk to me a little about commercial properties? Are you involved in that sector, or is this something that
yep.
you residential?
Most of my business is residential, but I have dabbled in some commercial for sure. I've done a lot of leases. I sold a big shopping center on Love Hillsborough Boulevard. Um, it is in a lot of senses very similar to residential. They just, changed the words instead of the HOA fee, they call it CAM, common area maintenance. And, there's a few other fees involved, with the commercial side, but it's very similar to residential as far as it's a people person business. And, you're bringing people together. You're finding, properties that fit sellers and properties that fit buyers, and, bringing them together.
Yeah, really good point. So, little differentiators, I think a lot of times about a commercial spot, you want to know how many parking spots, for the,
Mhm.
business, not only the tenants, but the people that are going to be parking such a deal. You got things like capitalization rates, different formulas that, I don't really know that much about. Basically, you're right. It comes down to a people business. You got a owner of a building, a big building, or a commercial building that is ready to retire, ready to sell. The business either produces this much in income, and we can make sure that it's a fair price for the we want to we that's the goal, right? You want to an equilibrium where it's fair for the buyer, fair for the seller, and everybody's happy.
Mhm.
I think that's the end goal there. So,
Mhm.
we'll kind of move on, and I want to know, Michael Hansen, what is your best ever as a real estate agent or broker, being in the real estate business in general? Best day ever.
You know, my is seeing happy customers. Happy buyers, happy sellers, it makes me happy. Of course, the paycheck makes me happy as well, but, happy buyers and happy sellers are worth more than any paycheck, and that's God's honest truth, because they will refer me to more buyers and more sellers, and, you make those buyers and sellers happy, you get referred to more buyers and more sellers. So, of course, the paycheck is the end goal, and the paycheck is what you're going for. But how to keep those paychecks consistent, how to keep those paychecks coming in more and more, is to have happy buyers and sellers and have people referring you and getting your name out there. Because it is a people person business, and people have to trust you.
Yeah. Wow. Very well said. Um, in hospitality, I'm a hospitality guy. I have a degree in hospitality management. Something we learned quite some time ago was happy employees mean happy customers means more revenue. So
Yeah.
you're happy and your customers are happy. And the people, your agents are happy. That means everybody's happy and more revenue. So, but yeah, I think it's just amazing thing that not only are we going to create some monetary, value here, we're literally creating something that's unquantifiable, which is happiness, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how do you measure that?
100%.
I mean,
Yeah.
what, a testimonial? I mean, that's great and everything, but this is something that we're going to be happy for the rest of our lives. It's
Yeah.
so I think that, I think that's your underlying, and you said it's God's honest truth that, you're doing this, and the best day ever is when your clients are happy, right? Because
Yeah.
that is going to assure that they're going to refer the business. You're creating an experience for them. You're
Mhm.
building a lot of information, and you're supplying them with a home. Right? Difference between a house and a home. We talk about uh,
Mhm.
a house is just four walls, but a home is a place you raise your family. Is a place that you
Mhm.
walk your child to school for the first time. And then
Mhm.
come back and talk with your wife over coffee about how blessed we are.
Mhm.
At the kitchen table overlooking the sunrise. And
Mhm.
these are memories that we can capture every day, and that home is the special part of those memories, coming back to that safe place where, you raise a family. And it, there's people, there's a lot of agents out here, but I believe that the folks out here, the general public, we want to work with someone who creates that type of happiness for their clients. And because we want to create those memories, we have, I have the passion, you have the passion for this stuff. So I think
Mhm.
that it's a very, say, fulfilling type of answer there. Just aside from the money, yeah, the money's one thing, but the happiness, I mean, wow, how do
Yeah.
we put a measure onto that? And so I think that's really
Yep.
brings you your joy. You see the
Yeah.
money, you know, in in 5 years from now, hopefully you'll have $1 billion and you won't even work. You won't
Yeah.
even, and you'll continue to serve happiness for people. I mean, that's
Yeah.
all we can. I look for it every day. I'm not going to say I'm a happy person every but I definitely do struggle with ups and downs, and like the ocean, there's high and there's low tides. But when you're helping provide some of that consistency, um, baseline balance for happiness. That is like, wow. I mean, I just don't even know how to express words. And it's
Yeah.
more of a feeling type of a thing that, it's a very positive emotion that you're bringing in. And so not only are you creating happiness, you're taking the worry away from people too. You're taking the anxiety away because, they're worried because mom and dad needs to move out, or we just
Yeah.
don't know where to go next, or we don't like the school system here. Maybe you have some advice. You grew up in Coral Springs, Parkland, Coral Springs, Deerfield. If you are talking about Broward County, Florida, and beyond, Palm Beach, I live
Hmm.
in Palm Beach County. You have realtor agents in Palm Beach. But if you really want to know about where you should bring your family, Mike and I were raised in Coral Springs. Like, this is a good, good city to raise a family. And
100%. Yep.
just that will help ease some of your anxiety where, maybe you don't want to raise your kids in Iowa. Nothing wrong with Iowa, but maybe there's more opportunity in South Florida, even though I hear Iowa's booming. Or
Yeah.
maybe people want to move their family out of South Florida and move to Iowa. You can help with that too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Not that you have your
Yes, sir.
your license in Iowa, but there's through the National Association of Realtors and other foundations that we like to cross refer. So if there's anything, if you want to move out of Florida, you can call Mike, you can call me. I'll most likely refer you to Mike, and we can help you with anything. We'll help take that worry away, because I know that there's one listener, there's one viewer out here that is just, this is exactly what they needed. They needed to hear from us about, how we're going to take their anxiety away because they're so concerned and consumed about what's going on in their market that they want to check out another market, and that we can certainly help, and you have a pretty powerful combination here. We're talking about somebody who has experience and expertise in the senior markets, right? And that with this is a hot market all over the nation, especially South Florida, but all over the country. These assisted living communities, people are moving from home into a community. So when you have someone like me that really is intimate in this field, you have someone like Mike who's been a real estate broker for nearly 20 years, who's like has a steady foothold in this town, in this county, in both Palm Beach and Broward, that you're getting value right there, that you can't really find in other places. Ask how many of these brokers you talk to, how many of them were are native to Broward County. Yeah, I think you get a handful, but I think that brings a lot to the table, that we grew up in this
Definitely.
town, and we care about
Definitely.
the town.
Hmm.
So, I appreciate, all that you're doing here. And, I do want to continue the conversation. We got a couple minutes left. So, yeah, I want to go into a little bit, and, you spoke to me about a whole lot of different things. So, we can go ahead and tell me, do you have any questions for me? Let's turn it around. I know we've been doing this
Yeah.
for quite some time. Sometimes it's not as easy to be a host, and you're like, who, what, where will I want? And it's like,
Mhm.
let's see if you have any questions for me. I've been on your team for quite some time. We got about 5 minutes left.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to answer any questions, and we appreciate
All
all the
right.
audience, everybody listening in so far.
So
So we can turn it around.
what's your why?
Oh, great question. I
Yeah.
love that. So,
Yeah.
you know, when I was starting this Welcome Back Home Care, actually I had my real estate license before I started Welcome Back Home Care. So I think I was a bit I didn't have my why for real estate when I started, but when I started Welcome Back, I had to have that why. And it's really the main thing is to help people, through
Mhm,
the education piece, through the experience, and through empathy, right? So we have those three E's that are super important to help bring that why to life. And I'm seeing that in real time with you and how you operate, even though I, my whole vision statement down and, all this mission statement is on paper. But I see you, in your company doing the same exact thing. Like you are helping people through an education point of view, through an experience point of view, and also an empathy point of view where, hey, we understand we've been here before. You're a person for doing this. Thank you for, actually inquiring about, moving into an assisted living or moving out of your home. We appreciate, or the daughter will say, hey, we appreciate you. You're being a very good daughter. You are a good daughter. And to have that empathy or, you're a very good son. We know this is not an easy thing for you to do. So
mhm,
to bring that whole why is it's really to help people, and to bring in the to help people through education and in my experience and to provide that guidance is huge. And also just the authority, right? We need to you know to make that why happen, we need to be the authority on real estate. We need to be the
mhm,
authority on home care. So it's not like we're just, talking and talking and just to, promote the company. We really are have that the resources and the authority, and we're building the trust, and so that's why we're doing this. We want to help people. But this podcast is a great vehicle to promote Hansen Home, to promote Welcome Back, because I do want to continue
excellent.
to serve, and this is a great way to help people. So I I applaud what you're doing, and I know for these
Me
viewers,
too.
I mean, kudos to you. If you're still on board with us, I know most of the attention span's about 5 minutes, but if you're really, with us, and I believe there are a few people that are, thank you for listening, and please, like, just take advantage of what we've built through these years. We've built authority, we've built trust, we've built experience. All this stuff is built into what we have right now. Mike's a year older than me or 2 years older, whatever it is. But the age doesn't matter. It's the experience. We've been working hard to get to where we're at. And so now this
Mhm,
confidence, yeah, I mean, I have this overwhelming confidence in my company, my team. I also have a ton of confidence in Mike Hansen's team at Hansen Homes, and that's why I'm with him. This thing is not going anywhere. That's Hansen Homes because I
I love
trust
that.
Mike. I know Mike. I like Mike, and everybody else will too. Because you give us a call, you'll see why. So, really, the
Absolutely.
why is to bring that helpfulness, and I really love that question. So, um, I think you and I both have to run. I want to thank the audience so much for watching, for viewing. We'll make sure that we get this all in our social medias. Please like this stuff on YouTube. Go on to iTunes, Spotify, leave a comment. I'm going to respond within an hour, within a couple hours. Just ask questions. Let's be more engaged. I would love it. Hit that bell on YouTube and follow me on LinkedIn, Lee Berkowitz. Follow Michael Hansen. Look us up. Mike, you want to give a phone number here, and we'll make sure that you can plug a website, a phone number. I know Sabrina, your
Absolutely.
wife, your amazing wife, is working so hard on the marketing piece. So let's give a plug to the
Yes.
website.
Yes, yes. So you could check us out on Instagram, on Facebook, Hanson Homes, RE, HansonHomesRealEstate.com. You can call or text me anytime on my cell, 954-263-5974. I'll always respond and usually available. If not, I'm on the phone or helping someone and I'll get right back to you, or I'm on a podcast and I'll get right back to you as soon as I'm done. But yeah,
Amazing.
call, text me,
Is there I know you had a couple great events at the Town Center Mall in Boca. Is there
Mhm.
any events that we should be on the lookout? Maybe some are in the works.
Sabrina's working on some right now. We don't have anything scheduled yet, but I know she's looking into a few. So
Amazing.
we'll keep you guys posted on that for sure.
Yes, stay in tune. Please follow Hansen Homes on Instagram, Facebook. Go to the website, give him a call, or call me, and I'll give you his phone number. You can talk to Mike, like he said. He's very responsive. So um, it's been a absolute pleasure, and I'm so glad that we did this. We've been talking about this for a while. I've been an agent for
Yes.
Hanson Homes for 7 years or so. I mean, it's been a
Yeah.
long time, and it's an honor, and it great to have all these great resources in real estate, and we want to help people, whether it's someone in their golden years or someone just buying their home for the first time or thinking about
Hmm.
being an investor and wanted to, ask a couple questions. And, we're not advisors, but we're going to do our best suggestions. And, we'll make sure that we're doing the right thing for everybody and achieving that goal, that why, which is, to help people. So, um, thanks for being a part of this, Michael Hansen. I really do appreciate
Absolutely.
you and all that you do. And thanks
Yes.
to the audience for being here. And please stay tuned for the next podcast episode. I promise everybody we have more to come. I'm trying to fight people off with sticks to, because everybody wants to be on the podcast. But I don't blame
That's
them,
great.
because I have a lot of fun and I love asking questions and I love being a part of this and learning about what people do and also building up our resource base, finding more experts. We're going to stay in our healthcare lane, private duty healthcare, but we know the experts in the different sectors, real estate, law, CPAs, it doesn't really just talk to me. And I'm telling you, everybody is a referral source. So if you have a question for me, I'm happy to refer. And all the best to this great loyal audience of ours. And I look forward to the next episode. And again, thank you so much, and all the best to you, your family, your
Absolutely.
beautiful daughter. And
Thank you.
actually, let's give a shout to Coral Springs in general. All the best to Coral
Yeah,
Springs, Florida.
definitely. All
All
right.
right.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Lee. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure, man. Thank you.
My pleasure. The pleasure's all mine.
All right.
Thank
Talk
you.
to you
Thank
soon.
you.